Hello everyone. Welcome to Evolution, and something quite special on this channel. I bet you didn't even know it was my channel at first when you saw the title and the ships, but hey, new year, new me. As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons, members, and all of you who still watch my videos. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the uploads, and check out the members only posts with jealousy and confession series. Hello everyone, welcome to the challenge time group chat. You are the lucky few who have been chosen to participate. Hooray! Kuroo-san sure doing a big spectacle out of this. That's the fun of it, right? Sure is. That's the approach I want to see. I suddenly feel smothered. No need to be. But if you do this right, you might get some extra hugs out of it. From you? No. From our sweethearts, of course. Heck yeah, I'm in. Me too. You don't even know what this is about. Doesn't matter. Anything for more hugs from Keiji. Alright. So, your challenge for today is going to be to go quiet. Like stop or almost stop talking, not being as lively and enthusiastic as usual, that sort of thing. Oh, that's going to be a bit difficult to keep up. Isn't this going to worry them though? Maybe a little bit, but that's where the hugs come from later. Just to clarify, you know Kei, right? He'll hardly care about something like this. Wanna bet? Sure. Fine. I'll bet you 5k yen that he'll notice his boyfriend suddenly went all meek in under 3 hours. You're on. Do you have so little faith in TsukiYama? I just know him too well, you know? That's kinda sad. Not really. You get used to it. I can't wait to prove you wrong. Okay now, chop chop, go ahead. Slightly unsure about the worry part, but determined to believe his friend, Bokuto decided to risk it and try doing the challenge, just for the sliver of hope he could get more hugs from Akashi. Now, that is not to say he was touch-starved in any way. Well, maybe a little bit, usually when Akashi was busy with deadlines, but more snuggles was never something he would refuse. And partially, he also wanted to bring his boyfriend to different thoughts for a while, since his usual tactics didn't work this time around. Hopefully he's not going to be too worried, or upset. Would he get upset over this? Maybe he could. I mean, they say people get mad from worry, so maybe they can get upset too? He mulled over it the whole way home from practice, rolling the thought around in his mind like a ball until he almost slammed his face into the door of their house. The last thing he wanted was to annoy his boyfriend when he was busy, which Akashi didn't fail to rather sternly let him know about in the morning. Maybe I should wait for a better time, though Kuroo said it's a challenge for today. He moved on autopilot while his mind buzzed like a beehive, trying to find all the pros and cons of doing the challenge today. His curiosity was thirsty for a reaction from his usually stoic boyfriend, but on the other hand, he hated the idea of making him mad. Not necessarily because of himself, but because of Akashi. In the end, he found himself sitting on his usual chair with a protein bar in hand, munching on the coconut mixture without really paying attention to it. He did glance towards the door of Akashi's office, though he was quite sure his boyfriend didn't have home office that day. It made the house feel rather empty, lonely even. Ko? He no less than jumped on the chair, once again shocked how quietly Akashi managed to move. Or maybe he was just too distracted this time. He chuckled sheepishly, quickly cleaning the mess he made when he squeezed the protein bar. Welcome home. Sorry, I didn't hear you. I figured. Is everything alright? Tilting his head, Bokuto decided to risk it all. No, everything is perfectly fine. He smiled, hoping it at least looked natural. Now that you are home anyway. He earned a tired smile in response, and a soft kiss on top, his heart turning into the mushiest mush. Okay, I'll go take a shower if you don't mind. Oh, yeah, sure. I took one in the gym, so feel free. He busied himself with unpacking his sports bag, but he was quite sure he didn't imagine the gaze watching him for a long while after Akashi excused himself. I bet he's getting worried already. The mate. Deciding to just try for a little longer, he carefully folded his laundry and then settled back to the table, laying his head on his arms. He had a lot to think about even outside the challenge, and so he almost missed that Akashi approached him again, only humming quietly when a hand rubbed his shoulder. Are you sure nothing is going on? Yeah? He looked up just as Akashi bit hard on his lip as if torn about something, before he settled on the chair opposite of him and took his hands in his palms. I know I'm not the best when it comes to dealing with inner struggles, but I can listen if something's bothering you. I mean, I will listen, anytime. Bokuto could melt. He only regretted the fact that his beloved no longer blushed as often as when they were teens, but he still couldn't stop the smile curling his lips. You aren't upset? No, why would I be? Well, you seemed a bit cross with me sometimes when I go into a slump. He paused. Did I use it right? Cross? You did. I'm sorry if I seemed upset with you. That's not what it was, I swear. Anyway, you can talk to me. I promise I'm not upset. Somewhat relieved, Bokuto freed his hands from Akashi's grasp, only to open his arms in a silent, hopeful invitation. Much to his happiness, Akashi shuffled closer without a single protest, letting him hug him tightly. This is enough. Being quiet was definitely not one of Hinata's favorite activities unless it was time to sleep. But for the fun of it, he supposed he could hold back this one time. The only issue was that, since the season had already started, Kageyama was now back in Italy, meaning he either had to act well enough for his dense boyfriend to notice during their first call, or would have to drag it out over several days. The second option was less than alluring. There's a high chance he won't remember it from the previous call too. Did it bother him that his boyfriend had a memory of a sieve except when it came to volleyball? A little bit. However, in a way, it was endearing. At least he didn't have to bother with keeping gifts a secret. Now though, he had to put in more work than he expected. It's fine. Just a shame I won't get any of those extra hugs Kuro-san mentioned. The realization stung, more than he would like to admit. Sure, he was already used to being long distance, and even the thousands of kilometers between them couldn't possibly extinguish their love and devotion. But sometimes he wished he could have his boyfriend next to him at all times. He missed the rare days when they visited each other. He missed Kageyama, dearly so. Perhaps one day. One of us could get traded to a country near the other. That would be nice. Or even better, into the same country. Maybe even the same club. He was torn from his daydream by his phone vibrating wildly on the table, exactly in the rhythm he set specifically for Kageyama. Time to put on the best act. He accepted the call, but unlike usual when he shouted a greeting, he just smiled into the camera. Hey, calling early today. Are you busy? I can call later. No, it's fine. Totally fine. He intentionally kept his voice calm and much quieter than usual, hoping that would be enough for Kageyama to get the hint. There was a slight furrow of his eyebrows, but other than that, the man didn't seem to realize anything was different. So any news? How did the last match go? Pretty good, I would say. And the new coach? Everything going well with that? Oh, yeah. They are settling in with his new training regime. He fell quiet, only tilting his head a bit when Kageyama's forehead scrunched. What's the matter? Shouldn't I be the one asking that? Any other time you would talk my ears off about all the stuff you do, practice and outside volleyball. You know, like all enthusiastic and stuff. He waved his hands around, a telltale sign he was trying real hard to put his thoughts and feelings into words. It was a rather familiar sight, and Hinata had to hold back a lot to not smile or coo, since this side of Kageyama was one of the most adorable ones he knew. I just don't think there's anything to add today. Nah, that's not like you. You can make anything sound like the biggest adventure or news. He pouted now, although Hinata was quite sure he was clenching his hands in his lap, judging by the sudden tension in his biceps. I don't like this, so you better tell me if something's wrong. So bossy, Tabio-kun. That made him pout even more, and apparently also worry more considering the muffled sound of rapid tapping of foot against the floor. If you don't tell me, I'm hanging up. Or not. I don't know, what am I supposed to do in this situation? He sounded a little desperate now, and Hinata didn't have the heart to continue any longer. He smiled and instinctively reached to the screen to at least virtually connect their hands, unsure if he should feel guilty or warm inside. I promise I'm fine. I just wanted to hear from you for once, you know? Normally I just blabber over you the whole time. I don't mind that. It's weird when you go all quiet. Should I take it that you love my lively self? Kageyama huffed. Obviously. Otherwise I wouldn't be with you. True. But still, tell me what's going on in Italy. The last thing you told me was about that new pot you got, and that was 2 weeks ago. Kageyama seemed to think about it for a while, his eyes trailing to the side when he spoke again. There's a new stray cat near my apartment. I'm trying to give her some food, but she doesn't seem to like me. Did she scratch you? Yes. Aw, poor Tobio. Give it time, she'll recognize you mean well. Kageyama just hummed, but the lively light in his eyes ignited by hope of befriending a stray cat was the most adorable side Hinata knew. Fortunately, he wasn't giving him a false hope, because under the grumpy exterior and social awkwardness, his Tobio was the kindest soul he had ever met. And so he let him talk about the cat, practice, and his latest hunt for good restaurants, melting a little more with Kageyama's every word. Maybe he didn't need hugs after all. Maybe seeing his boyfriend talk freely and comfortable was just enough. While Yamaguchi highly doubted Tsukishima would even notice him going quiet, he decided to go for it, if only to prove Kuroo he was right. And the 5,000 yen was a nice bonus too. He knew his boyfriend. Sure, he was hardly the same salty adult like he was as a teen, not in their relationship at least. But the fact was, he might even welcome some quiet time. It did stink a little knowing his boyfriend wouldn't care as strongly as the others, perhaps he couldn't lie about that. However, that was just how TsukiYama happened to be. I mean, he has his own ways of showing love. One exception doesn't mean anything. He'll just have a peaceful evening, nothing wrong with that. Deep down, he wished it wasn't like that, although maybe it was better that he knew now beforehand. And so he settled on the couch, finally done with his work for the day, and turned on the TV to pass time before TsukiYama would arrive from work. Thinking about all the possible ways the challenge could go, he didn't even notice how fast time passed until a hand squeezed his shoulder. Anybody home? Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you at all. With a short hum, TsukiYama rolled his eyes but bent down to kiss him, nuzzling into his neck for a second before pulling away. You should stop spacing out so much. Yamaguchi wanted to object that he couldn't really help it, and besides, he was at home, so what risk could he get in really? But then caught himself before responding and only nodded back. Right. TsukiYama didn't seem fazed by the lack of proper response at all, just squeezed his shoulder again and stepped back from the couch, heading into the bedroom based on the sound of his footsteps. Unsurprising. Well, the timer starts now. 3 hours did sound like a long time, but given their usual evening program, he wouldn't be surprised if it went by in a flash. I wonder if Kuroo would grumble if I used the 5k to buy Kay a gift for the New Year's. Might make the win a bit more satisfying. He couldn't stop the deep sigh from escaping his mouth, nor the little slump of his shoulders. He wasn't sure what exactly it was that made him so sad all of a sudden, but the more he thought about it, the more he wished he wouldn't win the bet. Even if it meant losing on some extra cash and proving Kuroo right, which would definitely make him all smug. A hand brushed against his shoulder, much more gently than the first time. Do you want to order dinner tonight? I got some tips from Kagane for good places. Yamaguchi paused for a bit, the gentle look in TsukiYama's eyes, even though half hidden behind the reflection of his glasses, making his heart speed up. That sounds good. Okay, anything in particular you want? Just something with veggies? A feather-light kiss landed on the crown of his head. Alright. Somewhat confused by the shift from the usual tone of their evenings, Yamaguchi followed him with his eyes even after TsukiYama disappeared into the bedroom again, staring at nothing while the muffled voice let him know his boyfriend was ordering them food. Didn't take long, and the table filled with takeout boxes with various meals and desserts, much more than they could eat in one sitting in Yamaguchi's humble estimate. He would lie if he said he didn't start to salivate the moment TsukiYama spread the feast in front of them. Everything looked and smelled absolutely delicious, but he wasn't sure what to make of this behavior. Are we celebrating something? Dread shot through his body with the thought that perhaps he forgot something important, but TsukiYama shook his head. Not at all. I just thought we could have a nice evening, since we've been working a lot and didn't spend that much time together these past 2 weeks. Oh. He instinctively checked the clock before mentally berating himself. Just because he wants a big dinner doesn't mean he noticed. It's so nice though. Well, let's eat before it gets cold. Right. Thank you for the food. He barely managed to keep his expression even when he took the first bite, the flavors and tender meat reminding him of the one time TsukiYama took him on a fancy date into a high-end restaurant. Although he probably didn't manage to mask his feelings that well, as TsukiYama gave him a gentle smile across the table. Is it good? Yeah, really good. Great. I'm glad you like it. He went back to eating, but occasionally looked up as if to make sure Yamaguchi was too. And Yamaguchi would have never expected to say attention of his boyfriend could be so unnerving. Though unnerving was perhaps a strong word, strange might have been closer to what he felt. He managed to withstand the occasional glance until the food was eaten, leftovers stored and dessert served, almost 3 hours after he started with the challenge. He waited for TsukiYama to say something, explain more about the dinner and stuff, and then he couldn't continue anymore. However, before he managed to even open his mouth, TsukiYama reached over the table to caress his hand, the same gentle look back in his eyes. Did it help a little? What? You seemed down when I came home, so I was hoping spending some time together and good food could help. Yamaguchi gaped at him, unable to form a coherent thought beside the one that he was wrong after all. When he didn't respond, TsukiYama's smile fell a little, his touch as if hesitating, apparently taking his silence as a sign of discomfort. Unless it's my fault, you're sad. I'm sorry, I should have asked before making you sit here with me, right? Wait, no, it's not like that. He took a deep breath, finally able to think properly. It's not your fault. And I'm happy you did all this for me, really. It was lovely. He smiled freely now, shuffling a bit closer to steal himself a kiss. Thank you. Though you lost me 5,000. From what? A bet. But don't worry about it. He sneaked his arms around TsukiYama's body, sighing contentedly when TsukiYama hugged him back. It's worth it. Alright, if you say so. Wanna watch something after we finish? Or go to sleep? You think I'm going to let you sleep right away after all this? He was playing with fire a little, but the challenging lift of an eyebrow and smirk on TsukiYama's lips was worth it as well. Sounds like a plan. Ironically, considering he was the one who came up with the challenge, Kuroo didn't expect to get any grand reaction from Kenma. In all fairness, he didn't expect any reaction at all, since his boyfriend was busy with expanding his brand online, too much to pay close attention to him. That wasn't to say Kenma ignored him, not at all. They talked, hugged and ate together like normal, just a bit more sparsely nowadays. He understood, really, letting his boyfriend do what he needed while making sure he didn't forget himself by the screen. He just wanted to see if obviously changing his behavior would catch Kenma's attention. It's going to be interesting either way. I mean, unless he completely ignores me, that would be a bit hurtful. He wasn't one to complain about his boyfriend being less openly affectionate than most. But truth to be told, he missed the times when Kenma would initiate affection. Maybe we should talk about it again once he's done working. Letting out a soft sigh, he slumped down on the bed, just staring into the ceiling instead of paying attention to the horde of paperwork he needed to do before the end of the week. More than ever, he missed his boyfriend now, his arm instinctively curling around a warm form usually settled by his side that wasn't there now. It was silly of him, he knew that, But maybe it was because of all the work he had done so far that he really wanted a hug. Just a short one. He pushed himself to get up and headed to Kenma's game room, already hearing him talking with someone over video chat through the door. He's going to be so mad I'm disrupting him. Still, he risked it and opened the door as quietly as possible, only hoping Kenma wasn't sitting with the screen turned to the door. Luckily, he was in his usual spot, his eyes trailing briefly to the side when he noticed him in the doorway. Sorry, can you wait a moment? Kuroo already opened his mouth to apologize for intruding, but to his surprise, Kenma took off the headset and quickly muted the mic before turning to him fully. What's up? Oh, nothing much. Sorry, I just want to check if you have everything. I won't bother you. Okay. He didn't put the headset back on straight away though, instead watching Kuroo with a tilted head and a slight confusion until the door separated them again. That went better than I thought. It was, he hoped, a good way to start the challenge. Somewhat counterproductive, maybe leaning a little towards cheating since he brought Kenma's attention to himself like this. But on the other hand, he never said anything about going completely invisible. Just invisible for their usual behavior. He settled on the couch this time, deep in thought about this and that, hoping he didn't ruin Kenma's work by his interruption. Time dragged on at a snail's pace, yet he couldn't find the will to get up and do anything, for his job nor for fun. Why, he wasn't completely sure. It was as if his body decided to shut down all of a sudden, leaving him sitting in silence of their flat, waiting for something intangible. This is so stupid. Since when are you so needy? It's not like he would ever jump around your neck. The image it painted was nice, he couldn't lie, but that wouldn't be his boyfriend anymore. His Kenma was shy when it came to affection, showing love through small things like letting him win when they played together, or inviting him to be part of his streams sometimes, never concealing him as his partner. He knew all those little things, and yet... He startled when hands landed on his shoulders, meeting with Kenma's golden eyes. Oh, hey, done already? Yeah, it got a bit longer than I expected. Kuroo cracked a smile, somewhat confused about his boyfriend's expression. Everything okay? I don't know, you tell me. He chewed on his lower lip, the little motions around his mouth and eyes speaking of some intense inner battle he led. But before Kuroo could ask, starting to worry a little that he might have really messed up by going into the room, Kenma squeezed his shoulders again. Should we get something to eat? Or, I don't know, we can go for a walk or something, if you want. You hate walks? Well, yeah, but... He fell silent before letting out a clearly frustrated groan, waving his hands around without meeting Kuroo's gaze. I'm not good at this. Confused and rather concerned now, Kuroo caught his hand to help him settle down, trying but failing hard to read his beloved's mind. It was so out of character for Kenma to be this frustrated outside playing games or being exhausted that he couldn't think of anything to say or do to make things better, especially since he had no idea what was wrong. Is it because I interrupted the call? No, well, kinda, You looked out of it, and I didn't even stop you to ask because I didn't realize it in that moment. And now you looked so down, and I didn't mean to sound harsh or dismiss you. He resembled a kicked puppy, so much so Kuroo instinctively pulled him closer by his waist, hiding his face in his stomach while his heart melted. That's sweet of you. Slender fingers combed through his hair, untangling a few knots made by the gel along the way. Not very sweet if it made you sad. It didn't. I'm fine, really. I was worried you might be upset I walked in when you were working. It wasn't that important. He paused for a beat before his fingers resumed playing with Kuroo's hair. So, is everything really okay? I know I suck at emotions, but I can listen if you need to talk stuff out. Everything is okay, I promise. But getting dinner together sounds nice. Takeout or going out? How about we cook something this time? He looked up, as expected, catching Kenma's nose scrunching for a brief second. The man hated cooking with his whole being Kuroo's exact opposite in this regard, among many others. Yet, before Kuroo could take it back and offer to order takeout, Kenma's face softened. Okay, we can do that. Really? Yeah. He looked aside, barely visible blush coloring his cheeks. I've learned a few things, so maybe I can try them out. And just like that, Kuroo could squeal with happiness. He gently tucked Kenma down for a kiss, much appreciating the little hum resonating through his lips, and the fact Kenma went along without a single protest. And most importantly, the invisible edge of loneliness was nowhere to be found anymore as they made their way into the kitchen, replaced by the content warmth he knew so well and loved so much. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quite special episode on my channel. I had to do this. It's my most popular challenge of all times. And this has been in works for months. So finally I was able to finish it and I'm quite happy with how it turned out. Also, this is not to say that the popular ships will be appearing on the channel. But if there's interest, I could do some of the challenges with them. Why not? I'm not against that. It was difficult to write, but for you, I can do anything. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time.